Welcome to Chalk Talk. I'm Chris Love.
And I'm Eric Stork.
And Jane Mackey, we think, is somewhere wandering around Manhattan looking for a power outlet. Best of luck, Jane.
On that note, Chris, we have to express our concern and condolences for all those affected by Hurricane Sandy. U.S. Sailing and Chalk Talk are behind you, and we're sure you'll come back better than ever. Speaking of U.S. Sailing, this week's giveaway brought to you by U.S. Sailing is a Gill dry bag. So for those of you who entered, you have a chance to win. For the rest of you, you should try it next week. And the winner is...
Oh, heavy this week. Emma Thoman from Fordham. Let this be a lesson to you all. Fordham now winning twice in a row. It looks like they stacked the deck on entries. It's easy to get your whole team signed up. For next week's giveaway, U.S. Sailing has some more spiffy gear from Vineyard Vines, a U.S. Sailing tie and belt set. So don't get caught without an entry. Go to ussailing.org, then racing, then college, and sign up now. You only need to do it once to be entered all season.
Hurricane Sandy played a major role in this weekend's events, Chris.
Sure did, starting up at the Victorian Coffee Urn at Connecticut. This is the NISA Women's Fall Championship and qualifier for women's ACCs. And boy, Dartmouth took charge this weekend, winning both divisions in the conditions that varied from almost too light to sail to the hurricane's coming, let's wrap this thing up. 3 skippers and 3 crews led the Big Green to win the regatta by 45 points. We'll see Dartmouth, Yale, BC, MIT, Tufts, Brown, URI, and Roger Williams back at Con in 2 weeks for women's ACCs.
It was much the same story up the road at Brown, Chris. Big range of conditions throughout the weekend. I heard from one coach after Saturday, no one figured out the light and shifty conditions of that day except for Yale's B Division, Chris Sagerbloom and Charlotte Belling, who had only 4 points in the 4 races. Sunday brought change, though, as Sandy drew closer. Building easterly allowed the race community to get in a total of 12 races in each division. Yale led end-to-end, got the win. And the other qualifying spots were very tight. Brown, BC, Roger Williams, MIT, Tufts, Dartmouth, and Harvard got the spots to go to ACCs. UVM missed out by a mere 1 point. In Florida, same story. Big breeze on Saturday as Hurricane Sandy ripped past. They were sailing in 20 to 25 knots. It built throughout the day, so they had to call sailing early. Still windy on Sunday, but sailable. Charleston dominated from end to end. USF got the second spot. Eckerd and Miami were in a tight battle to the end, tied on points for the last spot to ACCs, and Eckerd won the tiebreaker.
And the War Memorial, which is the Mesa Fall Champs, hosted by KP, also qualifier for ACCs, light and patchy on Saturday, and then near hurricane conditions as it moved in on Sunday. And you can really see it in the score lines. Everybody was inconsistent in the opening races, but then on Sunday, the cream rises to the top. We saw top teams from St. Mary's, Navy, Hobart, ODU, and SUNY, but it didn't matter. Georgetown trounced the competition, winning both divisions and combining to win by almost 50 points. They managed to finish the full rotation here, 18 races, before moving the boats safely up the hill in preparation for ACCs in 2 weeks. In addition to the teams we mentioned, Washington College and Fordham also qualified.
At Coast Guard, we had the Freshman Interconference Regatta for the Nickerson Trophy. Tricky sailing, light southerly on Saturday with a lot of current. Northerly with a lot of outflowing current on Sunday. Real tricky sailing there, I know from experience. The BC Eagles combined to win by 60 points. Erica Reineke and Katie Driscoll had a mere 14 points in 10 races before they headed up to compete in the Urn just up the street at Con. A quick note, we should recognize that like so many of the regattas, a lot of those freshmen stuck around and helped Coast Guard clear their boats out of harm's way before leaving and finishing up early. So that was great to hear.
For For the weekend ahead, it's just one regatta that we're looking at, the LaserPerformance ICSA Singlehanded Nationals. It's hosted by USC at the US Sailing Center, Long Beach. And this is an oddball regatta, you know. We've got a lot of talented single-hand sailors in ICSA, but they don't practice in these boats, only around now for championship time. But we've got a lot of strong contenders this week.
Yeah, Chris, like you said, it's all about practicing the boats, but also it's college-style racing. It's only 20 minutes. So in many years, you've got some very strong freshmen coming in who have been doing junior sailing, who focus on lasers, sail lasers at least every weekend, if not more often. And those are your people who have the best boat handling, have the boat speed. This year, being an Olympic year, you've had at least a few sailors training for the Olympics or competing in the Olympics or even being a training partner for someone in the Olympics. So it's a little bit of a different story, and I wonder, with the growth of the U.S. Sailing Development Team, if we're seeing the end of that, that simple story of the freshmen and sophomore are most practiced in these boats.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this men's lineup here to start, the names that jump out are Juan Magley, Chris Barnard, and then, of course, Nevin Snow, Olin Payne, Cam Coleman, mostly upperclassmen, but with kind of the same advantage that you're talking about. Juan Magley took 2 years off of school to compete full-time in lasers and campaign for the Olympics. So he's coming in just about as up-to-date and practiced in his laser sailing as he ever was.
Yeah, that's right, Chris, and so that's what I'm saying. He's an upperclassman. He's been doing the Olympic sailing. And I think he'll definitely be a contender. I'm also looking at Chris Barnard. He is really good at the college-style racing. Plus, he spent most of the past summer over in Europe doing that international style racing. So that kind of mix I'm looking at. A couple other names you mentioned. You've got the locals, relatively locals, Nevin Snow and Owen Payne from out there in California. Freshmen who, if the breeze is right, could surprise some people. And you can never overlook a past champion. You got Cam Coleman. But at the end of the day, I think last year's College Sailor of the Year, Chris Barnard, is going to take it.
Well, I'm excited to see him facing off against my pick, Juan Magley. We didn't get to see them at Navy Fall. Barnard was sailing in A Division, while Magley dominated C Division in lasers. So, good matchup, but I'm going with the Guatemalan superstar to take the win. And no surprise here, Jane Mackey is going with Cam Coleman. And then looking at the women's list here, Eric, what are you seeing?
Well, this is a little bit of an interesting combination of what we've been talking about as far as time on the international scene plus experience in the college sailing. At the end of the day, though, it's going to be really hard to overlook freshman Erica Reinecke from BC. She's been on the international scene, sailing laser radials since she was, 13 or 14 years old. Couple-time Volvo Youth Sailing World Champion. This year, she did not go to the Olympics, but she actually coached one of her competitors in this field, Mimi Roller. Just a very, very experienced, very good laser sailor, and has done pretty well in the college scene so far. So, I'm looking at Mimi Roller, maybe Marissa Lehan to give her a run, but I got to take Erica Reinecke.
Yeah, I think this time around I'm going to have to give it to the freshman as well. My pick, Erica Reinecke. And Jane is going to go with Erica as well. And now on to our feature story, Hurricane Sandy. After talking to several coaches and of course checking Facebook pages of teams around ICSA, it looks like the fleets are actually pretty well prepared and well protected from Sandy's wrath. Many sailing centers and college campuses are still dealing with the cleanup though. They had power outages as late as Wednesday, especially in the New York area. So we're still waiting to hear from some of those schools, including Fordham, which hasn't even been able to have its staff at the sailing center when we filed this report. The bridge was closed to City Island, where they sail out of Morris Yacht and Beach Club, and it looks like some of the worst damage from the storm took place. But early reports are that one of the piers at the yacht club has been destroyed, but they don't think that they lost any boats, which is really, really good to hear.
The other issue plaguing the ICSA is whether or not everyone will be able to get to the LaserPerformance ICSA Singlehanded Nationals on time for the first planned start of noon on Friday. With thousands of flights delayed this week, the NISA and MESA entrants may have a hard time getting there. In the past, ICSA has not made allowances for competitors missing their flights or other travel difficulties. However, we've been in contact with the ICSA president, Mitch Brindley, and he says that they are watching the situation closely and discussing contingency plans. They may even consider moving the start time back if it will mean getting everyone on the line for the first start. As of midday Wednesday, no final decision had been made.
All right, well, thank you for watching. I hope everybody is doing well with their hurricane cleanup this week. And we look forward to the Single-Handed Nationals this week, and we'll be watching and, of course, reporting back here next week, hopefully with Jane Mackey back online.
Sail fast.